In this live self-defense video, we'll be talking about the Kubaton self-defense keychain. Kubatons are trash and people who carry them can't fight. That was the title of a video that I saw last year. And it got me thinking because I've been using one of these, carrying one of these for such a long time. When I was in the military, in the Marine Corps as a military policeman, I carried one of these and I used it more than once, I used it twice, to first take somebody out of a car and then remove somebody's hand from somebody else in the middle of an altercation in a bar fight. And I have seen them work. And every time I talk to law enforcement people who are familiar with the Kubaton keychain, especially old guys who've carried these for years, almost every single one of them says, yes, I've used the Kubaton keychain and it does work. And they've used it to either strike or to apply certain come-along techniques, pressure points that do work. One of my most favorite is taking it like this, taking your thumb. The thumb goes in that mandibular joint right behind the ear. There's a lot of pain there. And this comes up and rolls up that thin piece of fat there that has all the nerves in it. And you pull somebody straight back this way. That does work. I've used it. I've seen it. I've had it done to me many times in training. I've trained other people how to do it. And like I said, a lot of law enforcement people that I've talked to, old cops, they love, there are two things that these guys love the most. One, good afternoon, students, good to see you. One, the old guys love their Kubaton, and two, the old guys, they used to carry the slapjack. And if you don't know what a slapjack is, you can Google it. Basically, it's a piece of leather that's sewn, and inside there's usually a hard weight, and it's very effective in self-defense. It's illegal. Most places you can't carry it anymore, but you can certainly carry the Kubaton keychain. And good to see you, Eric. I'm glad you're here live. And you can use it for self-defense. I want to talk about some simple ways to use it. The most basic ways are going to be thrusts and strikes. The first thing is putting it in your hand, closing your hand tightly, whether you have keys hanging off here or not. This is one that I pulled out of the case that I used. Hello, Peter. Hello, Joey. And this just makes for a stronger fist. So in this case, if I had to close, someone's throwing a punch or somebody's coming at me fast, and I had to close with and destroy for self-defense. It's one of the self-defense principles. I might put my helmet on. I tell you to put your helmet on, put this hand here that acts as a guard. Thank you, Studer, so much for that donation. Put this hand here. As you strike with the other hand, you now have a much stronger, heavier punch because you have this loaded hand, loaded fist, loaded weight in your hand as you can strike here. Now, the second way, from this position, you might swing it in, coming in this way, using your entire arm as a lever, turning in and striking. Again, it's a very close, this is close quarters combat. This is as close as it gets. It's not very long, but if you're in close and you need a force multiplier, you take this in your hand, tight grip, you can come in to the body, up into the face. This, one of these motions, this is called the sewing machine, often done by people in the penitentiary with a shiv, a knife, an improvised weapon that they make. It's a very common technique. You'll see that a lot. That's very scary to think about if this were a blade, but it's not. This is a blunt instrument. You can strike into the face, into the solar plexus, or even better, between that belly button and the private parts, there's that thin fascia of muscle. You can hit somebody in there and stick them on the ground. Now, all the force from your body is concentrated on this hard tip. And I put a link below. These are extremely inexpensive. If you want to have one shipped to you, I think it's the second link. You can see what the dimensions are. You can pick these up a lot of places. So you have this technique coming in here. You have simple thrusting motions here. You have it in your fist to strike a lot harder. And as I said, you can also use it if you know some pressure point techniques. One of these on the top of this bone here, there's a lot of nerves in there. Putting your thumb here and squeezing down, that causes a lot of pain and pressure. It's called a compliance technique. And like I said, one of the favorite one is here and your thumb here. Sand Dude says, what do you think of the multi-tool? I have several multi-tools all around me at all times. I have some here, I have some at the house. I have two in my car. One in my get home bag. I have a bag filled with stuff in case the grid goes down or something happens and I'm stuck here and my kids are somewhere over there. I'm gonna throw my backpack on. It's got a lot of good stuff in it, and I'll show you one time. And then I'm trucking it. I'm beating feet. I got all the things in there, not just in case I have to help somebody along the way. There's a lot of medical stuff, but there's also a lot of self-defense tools in that backpack. But I also have one in the glove box. I think there's three in there. But multi-tools are great. Multi-tools, I don't use them for self-defense, but use them for just about everything else though. Stepping in here, I always like to close the distance, get an elbow in his face if I can. I have these basic thrusting motions that I want you to work on and I want you to learn. You can also use it in the opposite grip so that this ring is coming out your thumb side. And again, you're probably gonna have your keys attached there. I should have thrown my keys on, but you're gonna use a slashing motion with the keys here to scratch against the face. It's a very distracting tool. You can strike a couple times and then using this part, coming straight down over the top, hitting them right here in the forehead, better in the nose or the eyes, in the teeth, in the throat. That's permanent self-defense. Hello, W9 UFO, it's good to see you, good afternoon. But you can also, let's say he's holding on to somebody and won't let go, you can take this tip and you can strike right again into those nerves. Don't underestimate how powerful that is. That's gonna create a lot of damage, a lot of pain. That's gonna force him to let go. Just coming straight down. And again, the principle is, it's a force multiplier, you're concentrating all the force of your strikes into that hard, and this is aluminum, that hard piece. They're usually aluminum or they're made out of that hard plastic that self-defense tools are often made out of, and smashing into there. Think about all the different nerve endings on the body. And I'm not a big pressure point. I don't believe in dim mock. I don't believe that you can hit people with the pressure points and kill them. I think that's crap. I do know you can hurt people with pressure points though. You can create physical pain and not everybody feels them the same. You can also cause damage to some people, so you shouldn't mess around unless you do know what you're doing. But some of the basic ones that you would strike is right here into that shoulder, right here in the top of the chest. You can take this, this is one of my favorite techniques, put your thumb there and then you push in and down. W9 UFO says, is tipped better or non-tipped? The tipped ones are great for window breakers. So if there's a tip on the end of yours, because I sell both in the case here, but the one with a tip, that's a great window breaker. You can also use this to break a window. You just kind of turn it on the edge. The key to breaking a window, like if a car goes in the water, is that you have to, and you can't, when the car goes in the water pressure comes into your windows, whether it's crank or electric, usually the pressure won't let it come down and then you're stuck. You'll get drowned in your car. But you have to break that window so that you can swim out. And so the ones with a tip, it's really easy. You put it like this, it'll pop it, the window's gone, you swim out. Or using this tip, you put it at that angle as you strike, and that'll also break it. Don't practice on your car, it will work. I promise you it works. So anyway, so you have this in this position, so that this part's coming out of the pinky side, the long part. You're gonna hit here, here, coming straight in. Yeah, FM 21150, 1992, excellent. Studer says that's a great manual to go and find all the vital spots that you can hit. This is one of my favorite though. When I do this in person and I have somebody who's not as strong as somebody else, right? And you know, like a woman against a big man like me, and they're in their mind, they're thinking, oh, this isn't gonna work, I can't use this to work. I say, okay, you take this, and the first place you're gonna stick it is right here under his eye, in his cheek, and you're just gonna turn your shoulders and hips and extend and go through his face. And after that, you're gonna drop it down, you're gonna stick it on the top of his chest, and you're gonna press down, in and down. And he's going to feel that, and that's gonna create some distance. If that doesn't work, and it's your life or his, you're then gonna take it and stick it right on his throat. And as you start to, you can hear my voice changing, that's because I'm going into my voice box. If you push hard enough, you're gonna crush his larynx, his voice box. He's going to asphyxiate and die before anybody can get to him to help. So don't mess around with this. This is for self-defense only. So let's go straight in to the throat. And I don't care how big and muscular that guy is. If you stick this in someone's throat and you start to just turn your shoulders and hips, and that's the key too. If he has longer arms than you, Scott, I'm glad to see you here too, live. Scott said he's glad to be here to see it live. His hands are longer than yours. You extend your reach by turning the shoulders, and at the same time, this is my right leg, or right arm. I'm going to step with my right foot. In your right hand, if you're right-handed, you have your right hand, you're going to step with your right foot. That allows you, even if he's choking you, you stick this up through his hands into his throat, and you take that step and you push him straight back. And I don't care how big he is, how strong he is, he's moving back. He's not going to be able, you can hear it keeps I keep making myself gag with just a little bit of pressure. Now you're going all the way in. Hello, Alfonso's in Seymour, Tennessee. But you're going in and through the throat. So you have multiple options using the Kubaton self-defense keychain. Kubaton was created by master or sensei, people call them different things, Kubota, Kubota, and then Kubaton is Kubotan, Kubaton. But it's a palm stick. It's Yawara. The Japanese or Okinawans used something called a palm stick. Palm sticks are popular in a lot of different styles. And this is just a refined palm stick or Yawara. And that drill a hole, put a little thing in there, and you got a keychain. And then law enforcement people have been learning this technique for years and years, which is why I find it so funny that the law enforcement person, I think it's Hard to Hurt channel, and I'm not disagreeing with the things he said. The way he described it, he's right. I believe everything he said. But there's always more to the story. That's the problem with vague platitudes. That's why I try to stay away from them. Everything that is true is also untrue, depending on the angle that you look at it. So you can create a lot of different scenarios, and in certain scenarios, people who carry the Kubaton can't fight, and Kubatons are trash. In other scenarios, most of the law enforcement guys that I've talked to who are over the age of 50, who are retired, a lot of 70-year-old guys, will tell you, almost everyone I talk to says, yeah, I carried a Kubaton for years, and I used it all the time. And yes, it does work. And they've used it to strike with. They've used, just like I said, they've stuck it in people's faces. They stuck it in people's chest. They stuck it on the arm. They did the come along techniques. They stuck it between their fingers, and then you just pinch. And you can imagine this hard piece, you just grab your own finger, stick it in there, and you just start cranking on it. That's going to create a lot of pressure, and you're going to get somebody to do something they don't want to do. That's why it's called a compliance technique or a come along technique. Again, I started with my favorite, which I have used, and you roll it out under the nose. Your thumb goes in that mandibular joint. That's that part right there behind your ear. You'll just dig in there, stick your thumb in there, and see what I'm talking about. You'll feel it'll start to make you tear a little bit in your eye as you stick it in there, and then you pull back. If you don't have a Kubaton, use your C grip. That's why I believe in having strong hands for self-defense. And I'm always twisting things and ripping things and practicing. I like to put your hand in the sand. I do a lot of grip videos on this. So if you haven't subscribed, subscribe so I'll make you a grip video so you can get wicked strong hands. And you can use your thumb and your forefinger. We call this the nose picker. Use your thumb and the forefinger. You stick that in that mandibular joint. You just roll that out and you can light somebody up. And they could be sitting in the chair. I'm not getting up. You can stick it there and they're going to get up. For almost everybody. Some people don't feel those. Now, again, I don't believe in Denmark and the death touch. And I stand here and the guy's over there and I throw my chi or whatever you want to call it. That stuff is garbage and none of that works. So if you ask me to make a video on that, I'm going to say I can't because I don't believe it works. And I've seen all of the videos and I've been to seminars in person with the big guy who does the dim mock, and it's crap. So if you've ever had that question in your head, does the dim mock really work? No, it doesn't. It's garbage. Don't believe in garbage. But believe in the Kubaton keychain and learn how to do basic things with it. From here, it's great. He's behind you. He puts his hand on you. You see it's somebody who shouldn't be touching you. You're carrying your keys in your hand because you're paying attention to your surroundings. And before you walk the car at night, you put your keys in there, get a nice tight grip. The guy's behind you, he's too close. Hard and as fast as you can with a turn of the shoulders and the hips. That's always the key. A little step back with that foot to accelerate it, and you'll put them on the ground. And it's not one and done. You hit 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and you just smash. And then you bam, turn, drive that elbow through his face for self-defense, and fight's over, you win. But get yourself a Kubaton. It's one of the links below, second link below. See what they're like, and reach out to me. I'll make more of these videos. I'll give you a Kubaton training workout if you need to have a workout. But it's not, it doesn't take a lot. Muramoto is from Bristol, Tennessee. We got a lot of Tennessees here today. You guys have been awesome. Thank you so much. Thanks again, Jason, for that donation. And I'll see you guys in a little bit. I got to go teach the kids.